Imagine that you walk through a forest. During years, you have been searching for something. You don't know exactly what. You call it love, you call it purpose, you call it peace, but deep down, it is a feeling. The certainty that finally everything fits, everything makes sense, and you can breathe deeply without fear. But the more you search, the more tired you feel, more confused, and one day, exhausted, you stop. You sit under a tree, and for the first time in a long time, you do nothing. And in that instant, everything changes. Kant, from his rigorous and rational philosophy, affirmed that the freedom of the human being is born when he acts not out of inclination nor out of interest, but out of duty. But there is a duty that is rarely mentioned, the duty to stop desperately searching for what only comes in silence, in the pause, in acceptance. Many think that to stop searching is to give up, but it is not so. To give up is to surrender. To stop searching, on the other hand, is to trust. It is to say to life, I have done my part, now you do yours. And that, although it sounds simple, is one of the deepest acts of spiritual and rational maturity that the human being can experience, because the one who stops searching is not the one who is lost. It is the one who has understood that finding does not always depend on one more effort. Sometimes it depends on releasing the effort itself. Think about it. How many times did you find something just when you no longer expected it? How many times did someone appear when you had stopped searching? How many times did the solution come when you surrendered to silence and stopped forcing the answer? Kant would tell us that there is an essential difference between acting with purpose and acting with anxiety. Anxiety seeks to fill a void. Purpose is born from understanding. And when you act from understanding, you do not need to search desperately, because you know that everything that is for you is already on the way. And if it is not, it is because you are still being prepared to hold it. Then, what does it mean to stop searching? It means, above all, to make peace with the present, to accept what is, not as resignation, but as affirmation of reality. Kant held that pure reason must not invent what it cannot know, and neither should you project fantasies onto a reality that is not. To stop searching is to look at what you have, what you are, what you live, and say, this is enough for now. This is enough to go on. And in that acceptance, without realizing it, you open the door for what you truly deserve to arrive. Because when you search from lack, you attract lack. When you search from anguish, you attract confusion. But when you live from the fullness of someone who already feels complete, even in the midst of emptiness, then everything arrives, because you no longer need it. And what you do not need, life gives to you as a gift, not as compensation. Kant distinguished between the phenomenal world, that which we can experience, and the noumenal world, that which exists beyond our perception. Perhaps what you seek belongs to the second, and you will not see it while you force it from the first. You will only feel it when you are ready to perceive it without anxiety. Now imagine a person who constantly seeks love. He chases it in every conversation, in every glance, in every social media. What does he transmit? Need, fear, dependence. But when that same person stops searching and starts to be, when he becomes his own source of value, of calm, of joy, then love arrives, not as a result of the search, but as a consequence of his transformation. And the same happens with purpose, with success, with peace. There are people who wake up every day obsessed with finding their life purpose. They read books, listen to podcasts, make lists, but they don't find it. Because purpose is not something that is found. It is something that is revealed. When you are present, when you live with attention, when every action, no matter how small, you do it with intention, with ethics, with love. Kant believed that the moral life consisted in acting as if each one of our actions were a universal law. What would happen if you stop searching and simply decide to act from deep respect for your own existence, as if you were already enough, as if you were already complete? Then everything changes, because by stopping the search, you become visible to what truly matters. Life does not give you what you desire from fear, it gives you what you are ready to hold from maturity. And maturity is this: to be able to be in silence without feeling emptiness, to be able to be alone without feeling abandonment, to be able to have no certainties and still trust. Look at the seasons. No flower forces itself to grow. No tree despairs to bear fruit. Everything happens when it has to happen. And in the meantime, they simply are. They grow, they breathe, they wait. You can do that too. Stop searching for happiness in the future, because it will always be one step further. Stop searching for validation in others, because it will never be enough. Stop searching for the perfect sign, the perfect moment, the perfect person, because none of that exists. What exists is this instant, this breath, this possibility of being you, here and now. And as soon as you embrace that, something magical happens. Everything you were looking for begins to come closer, because you no longer chase it, you attract it. Kant would say that this is the moment in which practical reason reaches its highest expression, when it is not only about thinking, but about living according to an inner law, and that law whispers to you every day: be yourself, trust, don't run, don't force, don't beg, just walk with firmness, and what is for you will find you. So if today you are tired of searching, if you feel lost, frustrated, confused, you are not failing. You are at the threshold. You are exactly where you need to be to understand this. You don't need to search anymore. You need to remember who you are, and from there, allow everything to arrive, not because you gave up, but because you finally understood that you didn't come to chase. You came to live. And when you live with truth, with presence, with coherence, life responds, not always as you expect, but always as you need. So today, stop running, stop begging, stop pleading. Do your part, act with ethics, be clear in your intention, be firm in your boundaries, and then let go. Not because you no longer care, but because, at last, you trust. Kant didn't write about manifestations nor secret, but he wrote about dignity, about freedom, about acting on principle and not on results. And that is what you do when you stop searching. You choose to live for who you are, not for what you can obtain, and then everything arrives, not because you needed it, but because now you can hold it without losing yourself. And that, dear reader, is not magic. It is philosophy lived. It is reason made flesh. It is the moral law within you, guiding each step toward a full, free, and true life.